Maximum Overdrive marks Stephen King's directorial debut. The film is based off his short story Trucks. Maximum Overdrive follows different characters trying to survive as all the machines in their town become sentient. The film was a critical disaster, as it was nominated for a Razzie for Worst Picture. King has since disowned the film, calling it a moron movie. King would never direct again. The movie stars Emilio Estevez and Pat Hingle. Hey guys, welcome back to Garage Stephen-King-a-thon, where every day, for the month of October, we revisit a Stephen King adaptation. Today is the directorial debut and only directorial feature of Stephen King. I think Stephen King made this movie and realized that he's much more efficient as a novelist and a screenwriter rather than a film director. Film directing, a lot of people take a stab at it, but very few can master it. I feel bad for Stephen King because he made this movie. It was probably a pain in the ass to make, and at the end of the day, it's always hard to see someone disown their own work. That said, I don't like the fact he publicly did it because it's a bit of a slap to the face to the writers, the actors, the crew, everyone who worked on the film. So for a director to disown it is kind of a fuck you to them, in my opinion anyway. I'm sure King doesn't mean it as that. I'm sure he's grateful of their work, but that's just the vibe I get whenever someone disowns a film. Whenever Stanley Kubrick disowns a film, for example, he is notorious for doing that with the film Spartacus. Anyway, this movie opens and you get a huge shot of Stephen King's face. That's right, his fucking face is right in the camera. Just to remind you, this is a Stephen King directed film.
Honey, come on over here, sugar buns. This machine just called me an asshole.
And then, right off the bat, these machines come to life. Now, which machines is it? It's any machine. It can be a truck, lawnmower, blender, electric knife. Anything can come to life. And I think that's a pretty neat concept. I watched this Werner Herzog documentary called Lo and Behold, which was about automation in society. There was this part in that documentary where they're interviewing people who are working on making a cloud service for automatic vehicles. Idea being that if an automatic vehicle does a mistake, the mistake is uploaded into the cloud server, and that cloud server tells all the other cars to not repeat that mistake. The interviewer asked the engineers working on this, what happens if someone breaks into that cloud server? What happens if a hacker gets into it and can basically cause all these machines to crash together? And the guy getting interviewed got a little stumped. He was like, I don't know. I guess I didn't think that one through. Which goes to show sometimes just because it's a good idea and just because you could doesn't mean you should. It's that classic Jeff Goldblum line from Jurassic Park. What I'm getting at is that I wish this movie went down that angle, a technological kind of angle, rather than a supernatural angle. The reason why these machines are coming back to life is because there's a comet that's orbiting Earth, and that's about it. They don't give much explanation to it. Which kind of disappointed me. I'm like, okay, so why is this all happening? And they're just like, it's a comet. Don't worry about it. It's a comet. The first big scene is that bridge scene. And it's a pretty exciting scene, I'm not gonna lie. That scene got me hooked. That's the beginning. That's the hook. It got me hooked. Everything after that was garbaggio, unfortunately. The one thing this movie is really bad at is tone. As soon as there's something suspenseful going on, and as soon as someone bites the dust and you're like, oh shit, it cuts to AC/DC music, and it's just like, you shook me all night long. You know, it's taken seriously, and AC/DC is not one for suspense. And not to say, I'm not gonna diss on AC/DC. I saw AC/DC live in concert. I feel like they're a bit more of a show band rather than a music band. It's kind of like Kiss. You don't listen to Kiss. It's more about the vibe, the feeling, and going to see the live shows, in my opinion. I don't think AC/DC's music translates well to this film. AC/DC music has worked in film before. You think of the first Iron Man movie, was very heavy into AC/DC, and it kind of fit in that movie. Fits more with action rather than horror. And the fact that all the songs in this movie were by AC/DC was kind of annoying. This was kind of a trend in the 60s and 70s and 80s where you would have one artist's playlist as all the songs in a movie. I think of Harold and Maude. All of the songs in that movie were by Cat Stevens. The Graduate, all of the songs in that movie were by Simon and Garfunkel. I feel like it's an outdated gimmick to have just one artist's soundtrack. Fuck! My neighbor is mowing his lawn. Well, it's appropriate because there's quite a good lawnmower wipeout scene in this movie. There's one scene where there's a vending machine that comes back to life, and it shoots a can in a man's head, and he gets, like, killed, basically. Leaves a huge gash in his head, and it's bloody. And then cuts right off to AC/DC. It's just like, it was a fast machine. I'm like, come on, man.
Shit.
There's also some things that just flat out don't make sense in this movie. The people in this town have a rocket launcher somehow. They never explain why the characters have a rocket launcher, but they do conveniently.
All right, Bubba, tickets went up your home sick. Fucking truck's supposed to be a depot. That was a depot to sure.
I think one thing that makes Stephen King... Oh my god, that fucking lawnmower. I'm so sorry, guys. I'll try to talk over it. I think one thing that makes Stephen King movies really successful is the fact that the characters in his film are usually blue-collar people. They're relatable. They're the everyman. That's one thing I said about The Shining. The Shining is your ordinary, typical American family, and everything goes to shit with them. And that's a reoccurring theme with all of his movies. It's always about the everyman. Salem's Lot was about the everyman. And I feel like that translates well in this movie, having it truckers and it's these blue-collar, hardworking people. But the characters are really thin in this movie. I think it was Roger Ebert who reviewed this movie and said that, once again, it's a Stephen King movie with a great concept, but executed, like, poorly. And I feel like that's the perfect explanation to it. You have so many great ideas. You have this trucker town where it's all these truckers who are big and tough, but all of a sudden the machines are the ones in control. And these truckers have to take over the machines, reclaim them. I like that idea. And using the everyman as your hero, it's bound to work. It's just the directing in this movie is so all over the place. And I think that's why Stephen King puts a lot of the blame on himself. Some characters are just flat out annoying in this movie. Notably, there's this newlywed couple who are about to celebrate their honeymoon, but everything gets interrupted by the incident. The wife is so annoying. She's yelling the whole film. Oh my god, I wanted to just take my TV and throw it in the basement, which I already broke one TV recently. I don't need to break another one. One morning I was rushing to work and I yanked on my computer in a rush, and it was still plugged to the TV, and TV came tumbling down. So if anyone knows a TV repairman, let me know. But anyway, Maximum Overdrive, skip it, not worth it, not even as like a so bad it's good. It's just very dull, confusing, and a bit of a misfire in Stephen King's catalog. Tune in tomorrow, folks. Another Stephen King adaptation review coming your way.
Stephen King's Maximum Overdrive.